darkness in your way. So have your way. Oh, have your way.
You're thankful that God's doing something in your midst. We give him some praise. God, you're worthy. You're the one that we come to spend time with. You're the one we came to
of you who are just coming along the journey now, it's a crash course. It's a way to figure out kind of what this church is all about and what you can do to make it your home. We don't just want you to come and attend on a once-a-week basis, but really to feel like you're knitted in, that this is family to you. And that is possible when you're in a small group, when you're on a team. So if you check out Crash Course, it's a 4-step journey, 4 weeks long. You can get plugged in, dialed in, and make this house your home. Hey, I want to mention, of course, all of us just so touched this week watching the news and hearing about the Reverend Billy Graham going to be with Jesus in heaven at 99 years old. What a good life. I mean, that's incredible. And if you are, new to church and you've never really heard, his name, you don't know who that is. Of course, many young people in our church, you would have grown up without ever, seeing him preach or seeing him out publicly. He is the greatest evangelist in human history. No question, no comparison. I mean, of those who follow Jesus, who've been given this gift of going into the world and preaching the gospel, because everyone's called to evangelize. We're all supposed to share the gospel with people, but some have been specifically given a gift of evangelism, meaning when they get up and talk, people just listen and the gospel makes sense. And the Reverend Billy Graham, I mean, he would probably hate even being described that way. He's just a farm boy from North Carolina who liked to tell people about Jesus, who saved his soul. He wanted to tell people about Jesus and began doing these meetings and really kind of got traction in Los Angeles, where he was having these tent meetings that just went on and on and on and began to really be, so popular. They would fit 6,000, 10,000 people into these tents, and they would go on for weeks. Then they booked the New York City Crusades, where they reserved Madison Square Garden, and they had it booked for a couple months. They didn't know how long it was going to go. The Crusades ended up going 16 weeks long every night for 16 weeks. For one of the nights it came to a head, they booked Yankee Stadium, 100,000 people plus, packed out Yankee Stadium. At the time then, Vice President Richard Nixon flew in to get up on the platform and say a few words. I mean, it was just, the whole country was captured by what happened. And the final night, they couldn't hold it anywhere. There was nowhere big enough, so they just had it in Times Square. And it just filled up all of Times Square, an open air crusade meeting, and Billy just got up and preached the gospel as it did. And it's just an incredible thing to think about how faithful he has been and was his whole life. Him and his wife Ruth and their team, and just literally preached the gospel to live attendance to over 200 million people all over the world. And I just wanted to thank God for the life of Billy Graham. Because whether or not you've even heard his name mentioned, if you're part of this church, it's through to his account. He led to the Lord so many people in our country who then have touched so many people. It's unthinkable. My pastor of the church I got saved in was saved at a Billy Graham broadcast, not in person, on TV. He's watching a TV, and that's shout out Fresh Life TV every week who watch on TV. So he's watching, the TV broadcast and gets saved because he's seeing people in this crusade go forward. He's thinking to himself, if I was in that room, I know I'd get up and go. I'm glad I'm in the room. And then Billy, as he does, turns the camera and says, but you watching at home, you can come. And says, you can come to faith watching on TV. My pastor gave his life to Christ at that event. And just that so many people have a story like that involving God using Billy. And I'm going to just be up here for a mess talking for 10 hours. I need counseling. But my wife Jenny and I were invited, as some of you know, we talked about it on social media a little bit. We were invited at a really significant time in our lives to go and spend a few moments in Billy's house, where he just went to be with the Lord from this past week. And the invitation came to us the morning after our daughter had gone to heaven. And his grandson Will did not know that, but had sent this message saying, hey, we'd love for you and your wife to come meet my grandfather. And I literally was just like weeping and saw this on my phone. And it was just such a random thing. You don't often, maybe you do, I don't often just get invited to go meet Billy Graham. And in my life, you can't go too much higher. It's sort of like going to meet David or the Apostle Paul, and so it just was a real sign for me in that moment, to us in that moment of God seeing us in a hard season. And so of course we flew out there and got to spend some time with him. And one of the funny things he talked about was someone in the room. We walked in. I mean, you just see Billy Graham's living room. He's just sitting right there. It's Billy freaking Graham. city in Korea. 1 million people. They had to get like an airport runway area just for people staying there to hear the gospel. And this guy, anyhow, we walk in there, he's sitting there and he's picking out his new book cover. And so they had to blow up the book covers this big, like movie posters, so he could see them to pick between the two colors because his eyesight was real bad at the time. So he's choosing between the covers and it just says Billy Graham Salvation. And we're just observing everything. And he had a cookie, I'm like, here's a cookie there. It's Billy Graham's cookie, you know. It's like, I don't want to be weird about it, but I was just overwhelmed. And so he says, this book's called Salvation because that's what I spent my life preaching about. I'm like, that makes sense. I want to buy that book, buy Billy Graham's Salvation book. That sounds great. Anyhow, we talked a little bit and talked about heaven, talked about his wife Ruth, who was at that point waiting for him in paradise, and talked about our daughter Linya being there, and just he talked about the resurrection and how that has meant the most to him in grieving and the resurrection of Christ, obviously. And then when someone in the room joked about, didn't God tell you you're going to make me see 100? Because he was 95 back then. And he said, no, I decided that. He said, I decided to wait till 100 to go to heaven. And so God did not tell him he was going to be 100. He decided he was going to live to 100. And he did darn close. Born 1918, went to be with Jesus 2018, just shy of 100 full years. Come on, let's just take one more second and thank God for the life of an incredible man who, like it was said of Abraham, died old and full of years. And those who win souls, the Bible says, that person is wise. He who wins souls is wise. And so for a wise man who won a lot of souls, we're grateful and inspired to live a life doing everything God's called us to do with our whole heart. You know, we haven't all been called to get up in front of stadiums, and many of us will never speak to 1 million people at one time. But you know what? It's about knowing your calling and running after it. You know, Billy was offered $1 million to leave preaching and become a movie star, and he said, I wouldn't do it for $1 million a month. A major studio said, I want you to act. He said, I'm not called to act, I'm called to preach. He was asked to run for the Senate in North Carolina. He said, no, that would be a distraction. He was given a serious amount of money towards a presidential bid. Would you run for president? He said, no, I've been called to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. The point is, you got to know what you've been called to do and do it with your whole heart and do it to God and believe that you said. Let's go and pray that over every single one of you. Hey, also, update-wise, we told you last week we were praying about the plans out of our Wild Beyonder offering, where we were going to be building a new location in Whitefish, Montana, for that campus there, which we're still very much moving forward with. Unfortunately, this week the City Council denied our request to change the conditional use of the property that we have under contract, and so it's not looking like that place is going to be the place where we're going to build a home out for Fresh Life Whitefish. That just means God has something better in store, and so we're praying and looking and believing God has something incredible for that location. But all of these things are just normal and part of the process, and I'm grateful, you know, to know from now 11 years of experience, when God shuts the door, don't kick it down. You kick the door down, you make a mistake because you end up missing out on the better thing that He has for you. So, hey, we're going to take a minute, as we often do in our worship experiences, get out of our seats, say hello to somebody. I think the team's going to be coming around with some delicious Starburst candy, which is good for you, I'm pretty sure. And if it happens at church, there's no calories in it. So enjoy, get out of your seat, we'll put some time up, and then we will jump into God's Word in just a moment.